In this video, I want to do sort of an exercise and go over an agent's business. So an agent came to me asking me how to get from $20,000 a month consistently that this agent was doing to $30,000 and $40,000 a month, and how to retain more business, right? This is a final expense telesales agent, and they were having some problems with retention and just overall profitability. So I asked this agent immediately kind of what are his profits every month. And so he gave me a number. I'm not going to divulge that number here, but it was low. It was lower based on his $20,000 a month that he was doing and wanting to increase that, right? But when I looked at the profitability, it's like, you know what? We need to work on profitability first. We want to grow responsibly, all right? So I'm going to dig into some data here on this agent and kind of go through, reporting, forecasting, and just some exercise that might help some agents out there to become more profitable. Now, I'm not suggesting all the tips and strategies that I put in this video are something that you should do, but maybe just the overall exercise that we're going through right here might help a lot of you, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to do is go through his calls, okay? So this agent takes TV calls, and in all of 2022, this agent took 889 calls and wrote $244,000 of annual premium for 26% sales rate, okay? That's good. That's a great average sales rate. His profits should be higher than what he was mentioning to me. And digging into that, the first thing I noticed was 889 calls. When you extrapolate that, that is, over 260 working days in a year. Let's look at that. So 889 divided by 260. He's taking 3.4 calls per day on average. Again, these are working days, so this discounts holidays and all that. So 3.4 calls on average. Last month, he had a good month. He had a $30,000 month, and he wanted to do that again and again. He took on average 5 TV calls a day, okay? So the first thing I'm going to recommend to this agent is to continue taking 5 calls a day. He did it the previous month. Now keep doing that moving forward. That is your baseline moving forward, are those 5 calls a day. All right. And once you take those 5 calls a day, you don't take any less, you don't take any more. That is your constant. 5 calls a day. You're going to optimize that baseline of 5 calls a day. That's it. All right. So once you finish those 5 calls a day, you're going to have more time to work on retention, right? There are some retention issues there. And you're going to have more time to work those follow-ups. If I go into his follow-ups and, let me go ahead and do that. So if I impersonate, 106 past due follow-ups, okay? Those are people that need to be contacted immediately. So just the practice of making sure he's working on his retention every day, because he's only taking 5 calls a day, right? And that's a single goal. You have a daily goal. Take 5 TV calls in a day, no less, no more. You're working your lapses, you're working your follow-ups, you're making sure everything is humming correctly. You're not letting leads fall through the cracks, okay? You're getting organized in your business. That's the first thing. We can increase from there, all right? So when you look at his sales percentages here, so right, it's $66 for a TV call. That's variable. That's what it is right now. He's taken 3.5 leads a day on average last year, 26% closing rate. Sell 1 out of 10 spouses. It might be a little bit more. I didn't look at those numbers. Average premium was $1,029 based on his data last year, $1,029. That can increase a little. Our average premium hovers over $1,100 on our TV calls. Average commission, about 95%. That's when you factor in graded policies and all that. Average placement rate, we'll say, is 75%. And looking at some of the data, he's at around a 70% placement rate. Average advance rate, we'll say, is, because we're looking at GI and all that stuff, we're probably looking around 65% when you factor in all those graded plans and whatnot, okay? Click calculate. This is what this agent was seeing, right? Not a $5,000 profit per month, $4,000 to $5,000 profit per month. Now, if he just went to taking 5 leads a day, he's over to, $6,700 a month in profit, just taking 5 calls a day. All right. All this data is data from the CRM. This is direct data from the CRM. Okay. That's what we can get $6,700, right? And that's just at 5 leads a day. When he starts working those lapses and fixing that, his placement or his persistency is going to go up. His placement rate will go up. His, a lot of this stuff will increase. All right. And the profits will get much better. All right. So that's number one. Focus on taking 5 calls every day, not 3.5, right? That he was taking all last year. I'm sure there were some ebbs and flows there. Take 5 calls a day. That's your baseline. Optimize from that baseline, okay? And so 5 calls a day, that's going to be $7,200 a month in lead costs, okay? So number 2, one of the things this agent was doing was commingling their bank accounts, meaning that their commission deposits were going into their personal bank accounts that they paid their living expenses on, right? You can't do that. You have to separate them, all right? So I told this agent to get a separate bank account. Doesn't need to be a business bank account. It could be another bank account under your name at the same bank, right? So you can see both banks and you can transfer in between the two when you need to take draws to your personal bank account, all right? So when you open a separate checking account, you can see the deposit stack, right? Move all your contract commissions to that bank account. Watch those commissions stack and put this $7,200 on a credit card, right? 5 calls a day, $7,200. That's what it's going to cost you every single month, all right? It's going to gamify this business for you. You're going to see that bank account go from 0 at the start of every month because you're going to pay that off at the start of every month and then take out any profits to your personal bank account, right? And then maybe you can keep some in there to put a little buffer, but that's what you can expect, right? So you're gamifying it. So every month you're looking at your deposits every day. You're going to see it stack up. Your first goal is going to be $7,200 to break even. Then what can you do on top of that? Then your living expenses. If your mortgage or your rent or whatever it is, you have that all penciled out. Okay, your next one is, let's say you need $4,000 a month to live on, right? So on top of that, the next one would be about $11,200, right? So that's your next one. Okay, you hit that by the 20th of the month. Now, what more profit can you do on top of that? It gamifies it, right? It gets you more invested into your business. So what I'm recommending is he get a credit card to put that $7,200 off, to put that $7,200 on every single month. That buys him 30 days of cash flow. He pays it off after 30 days and then takes the rest of that money that's left over in the bank account into his personal bank account to live off of. Maybe leave a few $100s extra every single month so that kind of increases, all right? So by doing this, number 1, you're getting points on your credit card, right? And you're paying it off. You're not collecting any interest. Number 2 is you're separating your personal expenses from your business expenses. Everyone should be doing that. And it's gamifying it for you, right? It's you're setting these targets and you're going to work harder to hit those targets. You know you're going to spend $7,200 in TV calls in a month. You're going to do your dang best to make sure you hit that as soon as possible and then hit your living expenses, and then it's gravy on top of that, right? So that's number 2. Get a separate checking account that, at the current bank that you're at to do that. So number 1, 5 leads a day, 5 calls a day. That's the baseline. Number 2, the bank accounts, right? Number 3 is to focus on a single carrier. All right. So the reason I say that is when I go into a mix of business here, right? This is our AMS here, looking at policies. I could see a mix of a bunch of business. These are all great carriers. Nothing wrong with that. But if we're going to increase profitability here, I want to go with the carrier that's going to pay more commission and focus on a single carrier, right? I think we've learned from previous videos here that we want to focus on a single carrier if at all possible. So what I'm recommending for this agent, and I'm not recommending this for everybody out there, by the way, what I'm recommending for this agent is to look at writing Prosperity Life, all right? You can go back into Digital BGA's YouTube channel and find a Prosperity Life video that we did with them, right? And the reason I say that is if you do $25,000 issued paid in a quarter with Prosperity, you're going to get a bonus of 10% fully advanced. So if you did $25,000 of coverage over 3 months, issued paid, right? Settled business, you'll get $2,500 on top of the commissions you received. All right. So this agent, let's just say with the mix of carriers, they're putting a good 20 grand plus every single month, right? I think they can put at least 15 grand a month into Prosperity, especially when you look at here, you have a bunch of guaranteed trust life business, right? Learn to sell that prime term 100. So all that counts to bonus as well, not just your level graded modified, final expense business, but maybe this prime term 100, that can get bonused on too. So the commissions and GTL heritage product for the graded policies that this agent's writing could increase from a 75% commission level to over 100% commission level, because that's the commission level for that prime term to 100. So you do that, that's going to increase all this guaranteed trust life business that's going through, just the commissions there. Yes, you need to learn how to sell it a little bit differently because it is that prime term to 100. There's a 3-year graded period instead of a 2-year graded period. However, there's some pieces of that you can sell in that product, and it works really well. They're really good at Social Security billing, all that, right? But this all counts towards your bonus, right, at Prosperity Life. And with this agent writing a lot of SBLI, that's great. Something you know about SBLI, fantastic product, right? Instant decision, COPD, a lot of carriers out there, they'll reject a lot of these health coverages, a lot of these health conditions, and SBLI will take it, right? They have a 90% through rate, excellent carrier to go with. However, they have a $48 non-commissionable policy fee. So I also recommended to this agent to not write SBLI on the smaller policies, okay? So let's just say you have a $500 annual premium policy and there's a $48 non-commissionable policy fee. You're only getting paid on $452 of annual premium on there, okay? That's a 10%, almost a 10% commission hit just right there on the policy fee. So for SBLI, you should look at the bigger sort of cases so that policy fee isn't so prevalent in your, in your commissions there. So all that to say, by making a carrier change, this agent can add an extra 10% in commissions to most of his business, on top of, this GTL business, and really learning that prime term 100. If you can believe in that product, I know it's different. I know it's only guaranteed for 20 years, but after 20 years, it kind of, you still have coverage. It just lowers every month and it goes to age 100. All right. There's still that coverage there. It's competitive with Guaranteed Trust Life Heritage. Both great products, but again, this is a case study. I want to get this agent more profitable. That's the goal here, right? So that's another thing. So I'm having this agent really look at Prosperity Life to put a bunch of their business there. Now, when you factor in those three things, right, over the course of the next quarter, let's just say this agent's taking 5 calls a day, no matter what. All right. Last year, that agent only took 3.5 calls. Last month, that agent took 5 calls and did great. So if you factor all that in, you're taking 5 calls every single day, no less, no more, and you're really working your nurture sequences, right? Your follow-ups. Even you're not interested. The people who told you that they're not interested, if you have time to call them back. That just means they're not interested right now. They may be interested again. There's a reason somebody picked up the phone, called into a TV commercial. They have a need. They didn't buy that day, but they may buy in the future. That may give this agent time to contact those, right? But I also know that this agent really values their lifestyle, right? This agent does a lot of training in a specific sport and, still have time to do all of that, okay? So 5 calls a day, no matter what, work on optimizing your business beyond those 5 calls a day. But you're committing to that, number 1. Number 2, don't commingle your bank accounts, right? You're going to get a separate bank account. All those commissions are going to go in there. It's going to gamify for it, right? You're going to get a credit card to put all your leads on, pay it off at the beginning of every month, sweep all the profits back into your personal bank account to live off of. Your accountant's going to love you too, right? Because you're not commingling. And it's really going to make a difference. That really made a difference for me in my business when I was an independent agent. Once I got my first business checking account and watching those commissions stack up, and then I was really, really conscious of the cost of my business because I could see it go through, right? I can see, oh my gosh, I paid for this subscription and it's still going. I don't use it anymore. I'm done with it. So, you would see that. But if it's in a list of a bunch of groceries and expenses and all that stuff, then you may not see that. It may not stick out to you. So definitely do that if you're not doing that right now. And really gamify it. The way that I remember doing it for myself and how I'm teaching other agents to do it is to see those bank accounts stack up Look for that. You know what you're going to spend in a single month. You've already committed to it. You're already going to spend on your credit card. You're going to take those leads no matter what. How much does that cost? That's your first goal, right? How soon can you put commissions in your bank account, in the month to hit that? All right. You get there by the 10th of the month. Cool. Now, living expenses, right? And then on top of that, it's everything else on top of that. It's all gravy on top of that, all right? Gamifies everything for you. So that's number 2. Number 3 is focusing on a single carrier for this person. And I think it happened to be Prosperity Life because they're final expense telesales agents. They're having some profitability problems, on top of, like I said before, the bonuses that Prosperity pays, the more commission on some of the business he's writing for a graded plan. They also are a Social Security billing carrier. They do it very well, and they're really good at policyholder service. So this person was having problems with a little bit of retention, and that was eating into profitability. So just by going with a carrier like that and not using a ton of other carriers where you have to learn their processes to get business back on the books and all that, that's really going to help as well. Okay. So focusing on a single carrier, guys, it doesn't need to be Prosperity. I don't want to come off as pitching Prosperity to everybody. That's not it at all. Just for this agent's case, it was what I think could really help this agent really focus and be very profitable. And then, we have it set up right here where this agent's making, about $7,000 a month, just taking 5 leads a month. They keep this conversion percentage. They do this over the next couple of months. They've built some profits. Let's move that to 6 leads a day, right? Take 6 calls a day. Now you're at $8,000 a month profit. Our call center agents, they take 7 leads a day. That's what we give them, right? Our W-2 employees, we give them 7 TV calls a day. That's it. They need to make the best of those 7 calls. They do that. He's closing in on $10,000 a month, especially if you increase, some of this stuff. Instead of selling 1 out of 10, you're selling 1 out of 5, right? And that's something that you can be working on as you're going through your business, getting yourself better, right? Average premium should be above $1,100. That's average at Digital DJ for these TV calls. He gets that up, now he's up here, okay? It's a system, guys. You got to continually get incrementally better. You got to work on something. If you're working on everything, you're not moving forward, right? You need to work on specific things. So for this agent, take a consistent 5 calls a day, no more, no less. Get out of commingling your personal with your business accounts, and then focus on a lead carrier. That's it for the next quarter. I bet you at the end of 90 days, at the end of this quarter, this agent's going to be a lot more profitable. Just having that single focus. Not saying this is what all agents should do. Every agent is different. All agents are on different paths in this business. Some agents are just trying to make their first sale. Some agents are doing a lot of business and need to work on systems. Some agents are, just writing a ton of different carriers and need to just kind of trim it down into a single carrier. Some agents are working different leads and they just need to focus on a specific lead. There's so much on an agent basis that an agent is lacking. But the one thing you need to know is your numbers, okay? You need to know what your closing percentage is. You need to know how many leads you're taking on average in a month or in a year. You need to know these things on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis. This stuff you should have at your fingertips so you can accurately diagnose what you can be doing better at in your business, okay? This agent, sales percentage is great. This person doesn't need to close more business. Of course, they can always work on closing more business, right? This person needs to work on retention and profitability because their closing rate is there. Could it get better? Yeah, it could get a little bit better, but that doesn't need the work. What needs work here is retention and profitability in their business. So I hope this exercise resonates with some of you out there. And guys, I'm losing my voice right now. I want to finish this video off. It's an exercise where you can look at the reports in your CRM and you can just diagnose where your weaknesses are and figure out a plan. Everybody should have a plan. It should only be 3 pieces to your plan, okay? Focus on 3 things. For this agent, taking 5 leads a day, no more, no less. Don't commingle bank accounts. Focus on a single carrier. This person does this over the next quarter. They're going to see their profits increase. I know it. Just by looking at these numbers, okay? If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you like these sorts of videos where we kind of dive into single agents' businesses, look at their reports, maybe listen to some calls next time, let us know, and we'll do more videos like this, okay? Good luck out there.